Hello, today we're going to talk about green smoothie, the power of greens, the benefits of greens in our diet. And after we have a brief talk about the green smoothie, then we're going to have a short demo about how to make your own green smoothie. So it's not going to be an exhaustive talk about greens or green smoothie because there's a whole lot to talk about, but I'm gonna touch on a few things why we need green smoothie and why we need to incorporate this into our daily regimen. So I'm gonna show a few slides to show us the benefits or the importance of having greens in our diet, or having a green smoothie at least. This first slide here shows a principle that's mentioned in the Bible in Leviticus 17:11, and it says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood." So from this verse here, the principle is mentioned that our blood is where our life is. So if we lose blood, or if our blood is dirty, then we are not healthy. So we have to focus on our bloods. And according to Ellen G. White in the Ministry of Healing, chapter 20, page 271, it says that in order to have good health, we must have good blood, for the blood is the current of life. It repairs waste and nourishes the body, and when supplied with the proper food elements and when cleansed and vitalized by contact with pure air, it carries life and vigor to every part of the system. The more perfect the circulation, the better will this work be accomplished. So we are told here that if we have to have good health, we must have good life, because it is the current of life. And if our blood is supplied with the proper food elements, then it is able to do the job that it's supposed to do. So what is the proper food elements for our blood? This slide here shows what is the best food element that we can put into our blood. And on the left here, we can see molecular structure, a molecular diagram of a plant chlorophyll. Now, we all know from our high school background, high school, elementary or high school science classes, what is plant chlorophyll? It's basically the juice of green plants, and it's called plant chlorophyll. And basically, we know that through our studies in science that plant chlorophyll is produced from basically the sunshine, the sun shining into the plants, and then the plants absorb that sunshine, and it produces the green pigment in the plants or in the leaves, which is the plant chlorophyll. So it's basically called liquid sunshine. So we know all life depends on the sunshine. So when we take in that plant chlorophyll, then we're taking in liquid sunshine or liquid energy or pure energy. So in that diagram there, that shows the plant chlorophyll, and if you will look on the right, it shows the diagram of the human blood hemoglobin. And it's interesting to note that they are almost identical. The only difference is that the plant chlorophyll has magnesium at the center, whereas the human blood hemoglobin has iron at the center. So this diagram right here shows that plant chlorophyll is the best food element that we can give our blood, because it's like when you have plant chlorophyll going into our system or into your blood, then it's like having a blood transfusion. So that's one thing. And then what else? The next slide shows that chlorophyll is plant blood. That was evidenced by the previous slide. And it says it's almost identical to our own red blood cells, and we've seen that. It cleanses the blood, it binds with heavy metals and helps remove them from the body. It cleanses the bowel, increases red blood cell count, oxygenates the blood, alkalizes the blood, helps fight diseases. It strengthens immunity, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and cancer protective. So that's all that chlorophyll is good for. So we can see how powerful this plant chlorophyll or liquid sunshine is. However, in today's society, it is rarely consumed in our daily diet, or in our daily diet. Again, this slide shows basically the same thing as what I've already shown. Chlorophyll is plant blood, and it actually shows the same thing in the same diagram right there with the human blood hemoglobin and the plant chlorophyll. And it also shows examples of all the different greens, and also green smoothie, which we're gonna make a little later. Okay, liquid chlorophyll benefits. Chlorophyll is highly alkaline. Okay, so we all know that from science that if a body is alkaline, no disease or any illness can survive. And it also contains antioxidants, vitamins like A, C, E, K, folic acid, iron, calcium, and protein. No wonder why in this day and age, people are suffering from a lack of, from deficiencies of all sorts of things. Low in iron, low in folic acid, low in calcium, low in magnesium. It's because we are not consuming a lot of greens. Okay, so it says also further down that antioxidants protect the body from the damage caused by free radicals. Other elements help build the healthy cells and enhance the function of the immune system. This reduces the risk of cancer. This is one of the most important health benefits of liquid chlorophyll. So, if we're consuming a lot of greens, it reduces the risk of cancer. No wonder why we have a lot of cancer nowadays too, because even in our own personal observation of people's personal diet, we can see that they hardly consume greens in their diet. What else? It says chlorophyll also neutralizes the effect of carcinogens in all body organs. As a part of detoxification, chlorophyll helps the body to get rid of calcium oxalate stones by breaking them down. This reduces the risk of kidney diseases. So again, kidney diseases, we all know, would be the diabetes and then all those. So if we're consuming a lot of greens, we should not be getting this diabetes. And it's interesting to note also that in our experience, when we give people that already have kidney diseases, when we give them a lot of greens, it reverses their kidney diseases. So that's another thing. Okay, so here's a picture of a green smoothie with the leafy greens at the background there, with the lettuce, and I think that's kale. So that's what it looks like. Now, when people nowadays, especially kids, when they see something like this, they shun it, because that shows that I see the faces. It's, in fact, when we do a food demo at places we go, and then we start showing them the greens that we're gonna make, and then how it looks. It's so funny, and it's so entertaining to watch their reaction, because you see their faces, turn from, you can't explain their reaction. But that shows how far we have gone out of the normal or the original plan. We should be excited to see greens, because this was part of our original diet, and we should have been consuming a lot of these greens. Okay, so here's a picture of us, James and I, doing a green smoothie demo at a church in the Philippines, in Susila Church, and that's in Fairview. So normally, where we go places, we want to show people how it's done, because we want them to taste and see how it's done, so that they'll be encouraged to do it for themselves, and also so that they will taste and they will realize, oh, it's not that bad after all. I mean, we can do this. And in so many places we've gone, we have people that have been encouraged, and then we also give them the green smoothie challenge. Before we leave, we tell them, okay, after we do this, after we show you how, then we're going to give you the challenge. And what is the challenge? You need to do this as soon as you leave from this place. You need to do this once a day at least for the whole week. And then after that, you won't stop. And you give us your feedback about it. And we have received so many good feedbacks of people that have tried that and have gone, they did the green smoothie challenge and they have seen tremendous result. So, and then after we show them how to make it, then we let them taste. Because, even the Bible talks about taste and see. Our fallen nature, we won't believe until we taste and see. So even, we have to squeeze in the food demo part, usually when we do a health lecture, so that we can show them how it's done and also they can taste it. Okay, that's a nice picture. That's what we're gonna make in a little bit. That's a green smoothie there with some kale and looks like they put raspberry and orange. And that's another picture. Okay, now I'm gonna give some sample recipes that you can do on your own and at home. And these are just sample recipes. It's not exhaustive, but there's a whole lot of recipes online because people are already catching on to the benefits of greens in the green smoothie. So they're doing it, they're coming up with all kinds of recipes. So people are posting their different kinds of recipes on there. And when we give the green smoothie challenge, people come up also with their own green smoothie recipes and then they share them to us. So, so there's a lot out there, but I'm gonna give a few examples here so that you can have an idea of what you can make at home. This one is called banana avocado smoothie, and it calls for 2 cups of water, 3 to 4 leaves of kale, a banana, and that's it. You just blend well and serve. Avocado and banana is it. And then this one is a blueberry delight smoothie, and it calls for 2 cups of water, a handful of spinach, blueberries, a banana, and that's it. You just blend. And so usually in 1 to 2 minutes of high-speed blending, then it's done. So that's what make it, actually I would call this the real fast food. Because if you want real quick energy and real food, do a green smoothie instead of the fast food out there. Okay, green mango tango, we have this recipe for those who are in the Philippines and also, other countries, tropical countries or whatnot. This recipe calls for mango actually, so it's nice to do this in countries like Philippines and other Asian countries because they have abundant supply of mangoes there. So it calls for the same 2 cups of water, bananas, a handful of greens, and 1 ripe mango. This recipe by the recipe ingredients, by the way, is for a whole blender, so it can be for the whole family. So basically the idea is just a fruit or 2 and then a handful of greens. Actually, the main thing that we have in a green smoothie is the handful of greens or more. As you get used to the greens in the green smoothie, you add more and more. You add more and more greens. Okay, next recipe is green piña colada. That's good to do also in tropical countries like Philippines because there's abundant supply of pineapples there also. And it calls for the same water, bananas, 3 ripe bananas, a handful of greens, and we use different kinds of greens there like malunggay, pechay, and Chinese malunggay. They have some lettuce too, but there's local greens, so you can use that. A fresh pineapple and a fresh coconut milk that will replace the milk, and that will make a nice creamy piña colada green smoothie. Now, but we're gonna do this smoothie now for the sake of demo. We're gonna do these 2 kinds of green smoothie, and the first one is gonna be blueberry kale smoothie, and it calls for 2 cups of water, a handful of kale, blueberries, a banana, and then that's it. You just blend and serve. And we're gonna show that to you in a little bit after I give the second recipe. Okay, a blueberry delight smoothie, which is basically the same. I just changed the greens that I used. it's going to be a mixed greens instead of spinach. So that's what we're going to make right now. Okay, now we're going to go right into making the green smoothie, and we're going to show you how to do that. Basically, like I said, it's basically we're going to have greens in our smoothie. That sounds odd, you know. People, when they do when they do smoothie, it's mostly fruit, but not this one. It's actually our main ingredient would be the greens, and then we're just going to put the fruits, you know, to make it taste palatable and better. But we're after the power of greens. We're after the nutrients and the vitamins and minerals of the greens. And as we have seen from our short talk about it, we know how powerful these green leafy greens are. So we need to utilize the power of these greens through a green smoothie, and this is how we're going to do it. Okay, so we're going to put this in the blender, which is a handful of kale and blueberries, and these are frozen blueberries. That way your green smoothie already is cold. It's nice and cold, especially on a hot summer day. That will be nice. And then banana, and that's it. And then you just blend on high speed for 1 to 2 minutes, and you're done. Okay, and that's it. See, in 1 or 2 minutes, you already have all the nutrients, all the vitamins, all the minerals, and all the enzymes from the greens and the fruit ready to be absorbed into your bloodstream. Okay, and that's what it looks like. See, that looks good, right? Not right now. I have to make the strawberry one now. Now we're going to do another sample of a green smoothie. Okay, now we're going to go to the Strawberry Delight smoothie. And it's basically the same thing. It just has a handful of greens, banana, and a handful of strawberry. So we put that in the blender, and then we blend it in high speed for 1 to 2 minutes, and that's it. That's basically it. So here we go. We put all those fruits in there with the greens, and then blend it on high speed. And we're done. Okay, now we have to make sure that it's really ground up. That's why I say blend it on high speed for 1 to 2 minutes, because we want all the cellular structure of the greens really broken up, because then it will release all that nutrients from the greens. And people would ask, well, then what kind of blender should I use when I do a green smoothie? Of course, there are best ones, and then there are blenders that are not so good, but whatever blender you have, it will work. It's just with the ones that are not so good, like this one is a Vitamix, so it's a commercial blender, so it does a good job of blending all those greens in no time, 1 to 2 minutes, actually not even 2 minutes. But any regular blender, Oster, KitchenAid, or whatever, that will do the job. You just have to blend it longer. So you can use different kinds of greens also in making your green smoothie. This was just sample of what we made, but you can use all different kinds of greens. In fact, we advise people to rotate their greens. Don't use the same greens every day, day after day, month after month, because then you'll have imbalance of nutrients that way also. So do different kinds of greens, and then rotate your greens, and go ahead and venture out and be adventurous and use some of the wild greens also. Don't be scared to use some of the bitter ones like dandelion or bitter melon greens, especially for those who are diabetics, because that's really healing and nutritional for those who are sick. So now I want to address some questions that always comes up when we do a green smoothie. And one of them is, why blend? Should we not juice? What's the difference between blending and juicing? Okay, with blending, you have all of the fiber. It's all in there. With juicing, you don't have any fiber. It's all juice. It's all pure nutrients from the produce or from the vegetables and fruit. So which one is better, blending or juicing? Actually, there's different kinds of discussions on both sides. They say that it's better to juice because you get more. I guess you get more air into when you're blending because it spins so fast compared to juicing. But instead of getting all technical and scientific about all that, they even compared how much nutrients is in the blended greens compared to the green juice. And there's comparisons on that online and the studies that were done by people. But I don't want to get all technical and scientific about all that. I just tell people, do both. Do some green smoothie and then do some juicing also. That's what we do. When we have more time, then we do juicing because you do get a more concentrated vitamins and minerals in juicing because, there's no pulp, and plus it's less digestion. It's faster for the body to absorb all those nutrients because there's no more fiber in it. So there's hardly any work for the body to do. But we can't always juice. And a blender, you can utilize all the power of greens also in a much faster and easier way. And you saw how fast we were able to do that. We just threw everything in the blender and then blend it, and that's done. Compared to juicing, when you have to assemble the juicer and then you have to cut up the produce and then the cleaning of the juicer usually takes a long time too. So that takes longer. So we do both. We do normally on a daily basis we do green smoothies because that's faster and it's quicker. And then when we're doing a cleanse or when we have more time, then we do juicing. So you can do both. You don't need to be technical about it. And then another question is, how about the fruits and vegetables? Aren't we supposed to not mix fruits and vegetables in the same meal? Yes, that is true. However, because the blender has already done the pre-digesting, so to speak, because it already ground up the produce, the fruits and the vegetable for us. So it's not really gonna go through a lot of process in our system. And so we don't think there's any problem with the fruits and vegetables in a green smoothie. And also, in the raw food world, actually, they classify greens not as a vegetable. They classify greens as a separate, as a entity on its own, as a vegetable. They don't call it actually vegetable, they call it leafy greens. So they don't see that as a conflict with the fruits. And plus, it's already pre-digested, so we think that there's no problem with that. And then another question would be, how about, I already mentioned that a while ago, what greens? And then how long does it last and how long should you drink it after you make it? Actually, it's better to drink it right after you make the green smoothie because then, all the vitamins and minerals are still there. I guess within a few minutes of making it, then it starts to oxidize and you lose some of the vitamins and minerals and definitely the enzymes too. So it's better to make it to drink it as soon as you make it. But if you can't, it's like I told somebody that asked that question at our last lecture. I said, well, that's still better to drink that than the sodas or the drinks that are bottled out there that has zero nutrients or nutritional value in it. So what you can do if you can drink it right away and you want to take some for work or when you're out, put it in a sealed mason jar with the lid, and then put it in the cooler and drink it that way, or you put it in the refrigerator for drinking later. So you can do that also. So those are some of the questions that we get when we do the green smoothies. And so if you have any more questions that that you want to ask about it, then you can write, you can email, you can text or whatever, and we will answer those questions for you. So that's it for the green smoothies. And so we hope that you will take the green smoothie challenge and start doing a green smoothie a day for the next week and see how it is for yourself. Okay, now we're gonna do a basic salad dressing because we've already talked about the importance of raw food and live food versus dead food. So now we're gonna show you how to make a salad dressing that you can use for your raw veggies, your raw salads, and different things. I'm gonna show you some different things that you can do also with this salad dressing. And basically, the ingredients of the basic salad dressing is a cup and a half of nuts, which is cashews, and a little almond is what I use in this recipe. Cashews gives it a creamier consistency, so cashews are good to use in salad dressing. And I basically soak them for a few hours for a creamier dressing. Actually, this has been soaking for hours, and you can see that it kind of gets cloudy after soaking for a few hours, and that's kind of like all the acid and that's coming out of the nuts. So it's actually wise and best to soak your nuts before you use them for recipes. So that's what I've been doing with that, and also makes it creamier, makes your dressing creamier. So I soak that and basically just rinse that off after soaking, so that you don't get the uric acid coming out of that. And soaking the nuts also releases the enzyme inhibitor, so that means that it's easier for our digestion to process those nuts once they're soaked. Okay, so and then a 3/4 to a cup of filtered water for blending, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, which is approximately half a lemon, 1/3 cup of apple cider vinegar, and we have an organic apple cider vinegar here, 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil. By the way, some people are arguing about whether apple cider is good or not, and there's arguments on both sides, so I just leave that to you to decide on your own. Let every man be persuaded in his own mind. If you think it's good for you, then use it. If you don't want to use it, then don't use it. You can use just the lemon. And then 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil. For diabetics and also those who have heart problems, we do not recommend using the olive oil. They need to leave that out, and even those who have cancer, because their digestion is so poor that they cannot handle the oil. So it's better to leave that out in their diet until they get better. So and then it calls for agave, or actually any kind of sweetener. You can use soaked dates or honey or raw cane sugar. We have raw cane sugar right here, muscovado we call it. And then 1 to 2 cloves of garlic and 3 teaspoons of onion powder, or if you're using fresh, you can use 1/4 of a large fresh sliced white onion and a tablespoon of sea salt. So that's it. We basically put everything in the blender, and then you blend it on high speed until it's nice and creamy. And then you use that as dressing for your salads. And then after we make it, I'm going to show you what else you can do with this dressing. Because like it says there, with some little substitution, this dressing can be made into other types of dressing, dips, sauces, and even cheese substitute. And I'm gonna explain that after we blend all this stuff. So I'll basically just put everything in here and then just blend it on high speed. And it's nice to use a high-speed blender for this because it makes it really nice and creamy. But if you don't have a high-speed blender, because they can get expensive, we're actually just borrowing this one for this demo. But you can use regular blender, just blend it, you just have to blend it longer. Okay, so now we're gonna blend this. And you have a nice creamy dressing. And so actually, if you want it to come out real nice and white, so that it will be like a ranch dressing, I use some almonds in this recipe instead of all cashews. So that's why it has a little bit of brownish color to it. What you can do is use pure cashews, or what you do is you take out, that brown thing from the almonds before you blend it. Okay, so that will make a nice ranch dressing. Now, with some substitution, you can use this into, with some substitution, you can make this into different kinds of dressing. Like, you put some, like 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning in it, dried Italian seasoning, and you have an Italian dressing. And then you can also add red bell pepper. You have the same ingredients, and then just add 1 large red bell pepper to it, and you will have like a Thousand Island dressing. And then you can also do some tomato paste or some real ripe tomatoes. Add that into the dressing, and you have like a French dressing. And like I said, if you want to make dips out of it, then you can make it with less water. And then you have dips that you can use for your raw veggies and your raw veggie sticks or whatnot. Like raw broccoli, raw cauliflower. You can do that. So you can also do it, really thick, and you can use it like cheese or spread for your bread. So there's 1,000 of ways you can be creative and do some other things with this dressing. We also like to put it on our pasta, in a cooked pasta, as a sauce, and that makes a nice pasta dish also. And my casseroles and stuff where I use creams or cheese sauce, I use this dressing instead. So there's different ways that you can be creative and come up with different things that you can do with this dressing. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to put some on a salad that I have prepared right here. It's basically all kinds of mixed greens with tomatoes and chop up carrots and avocados. And that looks good. Now, another thing that you can do with this dressing is with the potatoes right here, like the steamed potatoes, or you can bake them. That tastes a lot better when it's baked. But like in the Philippines, most people do not have ovens, so I show them how to do this with the steamed potatoes. So get a steamed potato, open it in half or cut it in half, and then you add some beans, cooked beans on top. Okay, this is organic black beans that I got. It's actually store-bought, but you can cook your own. It's always better to have fresh and raw things that you have made from scratch, because you know exactly what's in there. And then I put a little bit of salsa on top of that. And then also, and then I put the dressing on top. So that makes a nice potato dish, a potato meal. That's actually a complete meal because you got the protein and then you have the starch. So that makes a nice complete meal right there. That with the salad, you actually have a complete meal right there. So that's one thing. Or you can use pasta and do that. So so here we go. Look at it. That looks nice, isn't it? See, that's the thing with raw food. Raw food always looks colorful and nice. But of course, we have the starch from the cooked starch with the potatoes there. So, so with that, I want to encourage you to eat more salads, eat more raw foods, because definitely raw food, there's only two kinds of food. Raw food is live food, and then there's dead food, which is the cooked ones. And I'm not saying you have to eat all raw, but we need to eat more raw food so that we would feel alive, we would feel energized, we would have more energy. The tendency is we eat way too much cooked food and processed foods. That's why we feel so dead and we feel so run down. If we would eat more raw food, then we would feel better and we would be energized. Not only that, if we are sick, if we have some kind of illness, raw foods heal the body. So we need all that raw foods into our system and into our blood. So I want to encourage you, eat more raw foods, have a salad at every meal or every vegetable meal, and then a fruit with your raw fruits with your breakfast or fruit meal, and you will feel a lot better. So that's it.